Hello and welcome guys to the brand new Beyond the Veil update. Is now live on the test server. Link to the test server patch notes in the description below, but we're going to briefly go over the changes in this video and just take a look at all the cool stuff that's been added. So first things first is the Mists, where we finally have some really cool solo and duo gameplay possibilities that aren't just Hellgates or Corrupted. So basically you can find these will-o-wisps in the open world and the roads, and they will take you to the Mists, and these come in solo or duo versions. So the Mists are basically a zone where you have solo and duo gameplay possibilities. The solo and duo Mists are kept separate though, so don't worry if you're a solo only player. Now here's some specifics to keep in mind though. Healing is reduced by 20%. Mount health is capped at 1.5k, so you can't just bring a super tanky mount and never get dismounted. Now these zones contain new enemies, the Griffin, Veilweaver and the Fade Dragon. And these three mobs are the ones who will drop the artifacts for crafting the new armors pretty much. We'll go over those later though when we go over the new items. Next thing we got is the new Mist City, Bracilien. I have no clue how you pronounce that, but yeah, this city doesn't have a physical location and you can't enter the city until you find it yourself basically. But once you find it, you can use the travel planner to access it, and you can also journey back to it. Also, you can buy a player island there, which is pretty cool. This island is separate though from the islands you can get in the royal zones, so keep that in mind. Next up, we have the new helmets, armors and boots, but my complaint about these is, feels like SBI is trying a little too hard to make them like seem cool and flashy, like all of these making you immune or invisible. I don't know how I feel about some of them, but I guess time will tell and we'll try them out and the meta will develop, you know. But they do seem interesting though, that's for sure. Let's start with the Feyscale, the cloth one. The new cowl is very interesting, making your casts and channels uninterruptible for 5 seconds and also grants immunities to debuffs. Now, this is really something else. 30-second cooldown, I can see a lot of applications with this. The easiest one that came to mind for most people probably is bolt casters. You just use the cowl and then your E, and yeah. I'm not sure how OP this will be because you have a global cooldown when casting it, but definitely feels like it will be abused somewhere with some combo, probably. So we might see it change, who knows. It seems interesting though, it seems interesting. Feyscale robe. Now this one instantly reminds me of Twisted Fate from League of Legends, where you just cycle through different effects basically. You have the Ring of Fire, which puts a ring that fears and deals damage to people. The Storm Shield, which is a defensive option that zaps people who try to touch you. And the Frozen Fragments, which is pretty weird, feels out of place. I feel like they could have just went with a slow effect or something to match the like frost element, frostbite or something. I don't know, but oh well. I'm not exactly sure where this will fit though. 30-second cooldown seems fine, but I'm just not sure where you would play this, like in what content, to be honest. Like what role, what content would you play this? But it seems very interesting though, that's for sure. Like you can play, if you're getting dove by melees, you can use the fear option. If you're getting attacked by a lot of ranged DPS, you can use the Storm Shield option. If no one is focusing you, you can use it aggressively to deal more damage with the Frost Shield, I guess. But yeah, it seems interesting though, like very flexible of course, but the thing to keep in mind is with this option you can instantly cast the fire option. If you want the last one or the second one, you will have to wait 1 or 2 seconds, so that's something to keep in mind. You can't get it up instantly, you need to wait for it to cycle through. Feyscale sandals are very interesting, so you become untargetable, immune to damage and all abilities, and your move speed is increased by 20% while channeling. So you can't cast abilities while using this, and every time you pass through an enemy, your move speed increases by 20%. I'm not sure, like these seem interesting. They feel like they would fit 10v10s or 20v20s, but I'm not sure like where else you would be able to use these though, that's the issue. In small scale, it doesn't seem good. In very large scale, I'm not sure if it's viable. I don't know, it just feels weird if these don't see play in 10s or 20s, then probably won't see play anywhere. Possibly 5v5s, but I'm not sure where else they would see play. Definitely not like in solo or duo content though. But it's just a weird ability, but hey, most of these new items are pretty unique, so it's hard to tell ahead of time. Next we have the leather gear, the Mistwalker gear. So the Mistwalker hood is pretty simple. It makes it impossible to drop below 1 health for 4 seconds. It's a toggle though, so you can turn it off. 45-second cooldown. Now the first thing a lot of people are thinking of is probably Tryndamere from League of Legends, but I'm just not so sure about this one. Even though you can't purge this effect, keep in mind this is a toggle, so you can't purge toggle effects. Like for example, Royal Sandals, you can't purge them, right? You need to be able to time this very well. It's a very long cooldown, but I don't think you can pull this off in group content. It's a similar reason which I don't think Clerical is a good weapon or a helmet, if that makes sense. I think it might work for Corrupted, possibly, but in general, I'm not sure if you can afford such an item. Long cooldown, but usually in group content, you just get stun locked to death and then you die. And you can't afford to be playing like a selfish item in that sense. Like whether it's ZVZs or 10v10s, I think you would rather have an item that helps you win, like Night Helmet, Merkhood, you know, those types of items. Also keep in mind, you don't have the same insane lifesteal like you do in League with Tryndamere. I don't know, I'm not sold on these ones, to be honest. Like, you're not pursuing your win condition, if that makes sense. You're just losing out on a head slot. Wouldn't you rather, like, for Corrupted, let's say, want to purge, cleanse, or more damage, like Mage Cowl, Guardian Helmet? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this one, though. I don't think it's as OP as some people are making out to be, at least. But for sure, it is a skill testing helmet. Because in theory, you can soak a lot of damage, but even then, unless you get instant heal bursts afterwards, or you kill them during that 4-second window, like, you're just gonna die right afterwards. Seems interesting, though. Mistwalker jacket. Now, this one is really interesting, but again, another kind of immune or invis effect. I don't know how I feel about this one. It just seems like it's basically only going to be used for bomb squatting ZVZs. Like, you're gonna see this with Wanderlust. You pop your soldier boots, you pop your jacket, you have your flank or bomb squad, you guys run in, you bomb the shit out of a Zerg or a group. That's it. I don't know if it's gonna see play anywhere else, I'm not sure. It's just bizarre, and if you ask me, like, they will probably rework this in a month or two when SBI realizes that either nobody's playing it, or that the only place it sees play is for like bomb squads and ZVZs. Now that's what I think. Yeah, Wanderlust, use jacket, go bomb people. Now, the rest of your bomb squads doesn't all need invis pots. Like, yeah, I don't know. Mistwalker shoes. Now these ones are pretty cool, but they feel a little weak and underwhelming. I hope they will be viable because they seem fun to use. Like, you can blink in and use like an E with mobility possibly, and then come back. I just personally can't think of much use though, possibly in crystals or tens or some other small scale, like not open world probably. Even though it's on a low 20-second cooldown, 9 meters is just not enough, I think. Alright, so we have the plate ones left, the Duskweaver set. We have the Duskweaver helmet. This one just fires a web, slows and lets you dash to the target, like you're role-playing as Spider-Man basically. Again, as most of these items, I'm looking at the current and possible future meta, and I'm not sure. This one seems pretty cool on a tank or melee, where you just want to stick on targets, right? So you could run this with something like Forge Hammers in 10s or 5s or 20s. I'm not sure, but it seems cool, and we'll probably see play somewhere and be pretty annoying, I can imagine. Duskweaver armor. This one seems cool as well. You drop a web underneath you, slows all enemies by 35%, and purges all move speed buffs. Now, if you really want to just not let your enemies escape, this is the way to do it. I can already see it in open world or 10v10s. Go with Duskweaver helmet and the Duskweaver armor and just stick on the enemies, not let them run away. But it is on a 40-second cooldown though, so we'll see if it's OP or not. Luckily here, SBI realized it can maybe be broken if you just stack a lot of these. So you dissolve all ally webs in a 20-meter radius around. So you just can't bring a lot of these and spam them as easily. You have to stagger them a little bit. You can't just cover a large area. Duskweaver boots. Now these boots I think are pretty overpowered. I'm not sure. For the time being, they just seem like a strictly better Jitty boots with 5 seconds shorter cooldown. But you do have the 0.4 second cast time. They might not make the cut just because of that, but it seems good for 5s, 10s, 20s. They will not see play in any like really small content like solo or 2v2 content. Will not see play in open world. Will not see play in ZVZs, probably. So you have 5s, 10s, or 20s. They might be really strong there, but otherwise they will not see play anywhere else, I think. New enchantment level. So we finally got Pristine, a new enchantment level. So now if you thought 0.3 gear is expensive, holy shit, is the HC market gonna collapse. If you haven't yet, you should look into selling your 8-3 Masterpiece gear because people are going to, well, if they haven't already, to panic sell all of their HC gear. This is not financial advice, by the way. But, but yeah, so 0.4 resources, which I can only assume are going to be batshit expensive at the start. But keep in mind, you can transmute these though. So what I did is I checked how much will they cost, and here's my live reaction. Wait, no fucking way. So for one of these 8.4 planks, wooden planks, right? If you're just transmuting, it costs 9.6 million for one whitewood plank. Just for one. Holy shit. Now, hopefully you're gonna use focus while doing this, because otherwise, Jesus Christ, this is expensive. Imagine trying to craft 8-4 items, like holy crap. You better make sure that the drop rate or the spawn rate or whatever for these 0.4 resources is somewhat reasonable, because otherwise this will be so expensive it's actually impossible. Holy crap. It costs 9.6 million to get one wooden plank in 8.4. Now, hopefully though, you're using focus, so you can cut that in half basically, but Jesus Christ, that is really expensive. 5 mil for one of these mats. Now, don't even think about the artifacts that you need for the tier 8 items, or especially for the new items, the new ones that were just released. Like, these 8.4 items will cost over 100 million just from the materials, not even the artifacts. Like, it's insane. But hopefully the spawn rate is reasonable, so we don't have to go to such lengths to get this massive silver sink. But I will try my best to save up money to get a fucking 8.4 set in 10v10s. You already know I'll try to go for it, but that might be when the prices drop or I get a really good deal. But yeah, this is really cool though. I like this. Now, the roads of Avalon rework, they already mentioned in the first dev talk, but it seems that the roads will now work more similarly to the black zones with you have the crystal spiders, the open world objectives like the chorus treasures and mobs that upgrade over time as well. They also made it so you can't log out on the roads basically, so you can't set up scouts as easily, which is nice. Now, I'm looking forward to trying out the special regions personally, as someone who used to do a lot of Avalonian dungeons. This seems pretty cool, and I might go back to the roads a little bit. Seems pretty cool. UI quality of life improvements. So yeah, nice changes, but the biggest change of them all, in my opinion, is when you inspect another player, now you can easily see what abilities they have instantly. I think this window is a little bigger than it used to be, but that's fine. But this is pretty cool. It will make it a lot easier in fights, that's for sure. But one thing I don't like is how they made the bank window smaller. I need more room. Let me resize this. I just feel claustrophobic looking at this. Like, they will definitely need to fix this because you can't even scroll while checking out the loadouts. And next up, we have the balance changes. So Enigma Blade nerf seems reasonable. I just hope they fix the bug where you can't blink if you kill something with it, because that one was annoying. Frazzle buff, interesting. Probably still not good enough. Crossbows get some love. Heavy crossbows now is a little bit better in 5v5s. That's pretty much it. Siege bow better for ZVZs. Seems like it could be good again. Getting the longbow treatment basically. Daggers getting nerfed. Demon Fangs specifically. This is like the 4th patch in a row, I think. Personally, I think they are fine as they are right now because like you have a lot of global cooldowns to press. If you have to press your boots, your W, and then E 3 times in a row, I'm not sure if you're dying to that. Maybe that's skill issue, but I think this one will just be overkill as a nerf, to be honest. It was in a fine place as it was, I think. One-handed fire, slight buff, but probably still too clunky. Permafrost, not reflectable, so you can finally play it in ZVZs and large skill again. Very nice, I think. I like this change a lot. Great nature change is very good, so as they said in the notes here, weapons with dots don't just insta-lose against nature pretty much. Makes sense. Swords nerf. Now this one is interesting. You have less movement speed, which is big. Now this is mostly a corrupted dungeon change. You can see by the broadsword getting cucked as well a little bit, but Yeah, Iron will buff though, or rather, big nerf to spears. No longer able to just cripple against swords. Now, this is a pretty big nerf to spears, I would say. In Corrupted, at least. The helmet changes, though, are interesting. Howl is useless. They should have just buffed it even further or made a new ability, not to make Mercenary Hood absolute trash. But yeah, all hoods having cleanse is an interesting direction that SBI is taking, and I think I like that, to be honest. Like, having more cleanses in the game is nice. Stalker Jacket, big buff from 45 to 30 seconds on something that already saw decent play, by the way. We will see more Stalker Jackets, I think, and yeah, pretty cool option for melees though, for a more aggressive option. I like it. Mercenary Shoes change is pretty cool. I think might be a new staple for a lot of roles in small scale, small instanced content, 5v5s, 10v10s, 20v20s. Seems solid. The knockup changes mostly affect stuff like the Oathkeepers and Forgehammers dive in 5v5s and 10v10s, but yeah, we'll see exactly how the meta will shift, if the knockup spam will still be possible or not, because I'm not 100% sure yet. But Oathkeepers and Forgehammers, those knockup spams will not be as strong anymore, that's for sure. And that's honestly it. I'm really excited for this update. I'm really looking forward to testing all of the stuff that has been announced here. So good job SBI. I am really positive about this update. I'm going to try out all the new content. I just hope the servers will be stable on day one of the patch and stuff isn't broken. Yeah, I know what I just said, but you know, one can be optimistic. Still, hope you guys enjoyed this video with the info, basically all of the info I think about the new patch. It was a little rushed because I really wanted to get it out ASAP as soon as the test server was out. But yeah, I hope you can appreciate it nonetheless. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content, and I hope you have a good one.